Okay, so just for the 5th time, Philip, I did not borrow your purse. I have not seen your purse. I have my own. Leave me alone. God.
Well, that's called a merce. Thank you very much. It's a man purse.
Real manly. It's got fucking polka dots and hearts on it. Got goddamn glitter falling out of it. Hi guys. Welcome back to the Why Bother podcast. I am Michelle.
I'm Phil.
And this is episode 18. You know what? We really, I did. Phil didn't. I missed you guys. He didn't. He talks about you all the time, but I stuck up for you. I missed you guys. Did you guys miss me? Yeah, I'm going to pretend that was a lot of yeses. Okay, so here's something that I've been wanting to know. And you know what? I remember because my son, he was really into this. And this was right as we started dating. So it was like 8.5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And he was into all this stuff. And I think he even got a book on it or something. But where is Chernobyl and what happened? Was it like a nuclear leak?
Yes.
All right. Where is Chernobyl?
It's either in Russia or in the Ukraine or on the border of Russia and Ukraine.
I thought the Ukraine was Russia.
Well,
it's in Russia.
In the 80s, it used to be, essentially. It's a separate country, but it was controlled by Russia back in the 80s and still sort of is in a way.
Back in the USSR? Like that?
Yes.
Okay. Which stood for what, USSR?
United Socialist Soviet Republic or Soviet Socialist Republic. I can't remember which.
But it's one of those.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so it's in Russia or
the Ukraine.
Or the Ukraine. And it was just like a town, right?
Well, yeah, it was a nuclear reactor that melted down. Partial meltdown. And
it was just in a town. Because I've seen pictures in his book, I remember, and we were going to go look at another ruin in New Jersey because, again, he was really into that. Mm-hmm. But, okay, so, which they were closed when we got there, and we had to turn around. I don't even remember what that was in New Jersey. Do you?
No.
Okay. But it was some kind of ruin. But back to Chernobyl, I've seen pictures in his book, and it's got, like, an empty amusement park and, like, old classroom. It's so eerie.
Yeah.
To look at these pictures. And apparently a lot of people came out of it, kids and all that did come out of it alive.
Yeah.
Are, because I saw something on my phone the other day about a kid that made it out of Chernobyl, which I thought Chernobyl was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was 1970, so late 1970s.
All right, well, this kid was like 12, so...
Well,
maybe...
You can still go there today. I mean, it's...
Yeah, no, they don't let you there.
Yes, they typically
I'm thinking
don't.
Maybe it got in his parents' genes.
Yeah.
When they were there.
Quite possibly,
That would make more sense, right?
Yeah.
But, so he has, like, no, I mean, he's got arms, but he's got, like, 2 half arms.
Uh-huh.
Or 1 half arm, something like that. But both of his feet won't, like his legs won't grow, and he doesn't have feet. It's just sad.
Right.
You know, and I know that I've seen the pictures, and I wanted to know where Chernobyl was. And so a nuclear reactor.
Yes.
Now, what does that do? Like, do we have them here in America?
Yeah, and we had a very similar accident here around Pittsburgh, what's called 3 Mile Island. A very similar accident to the one that occurred at Chernobyl.
Oh, God.
Except it wasn't as severe. And we had an accident here at 3 Mile Island, and they didn't have to wind up closing everything and moving everybody out. But, you know, it was a bad situation. And very recently, the Fukushima reactor meltdown in Japan.
Fukushima?
Yes, which is actually way worse than Chernobyl and 3 Mile Island put together.
Okay, and what was it?
Same thing.
It was in Japan?
It was a nuclear reactor meltdown. Because of a natural disaster. That was a giant tsunami
Oh God.
that occurred. There was an earthquake out in the ocean that caused a
Yeah,
tsunami.
I do remember that. Okay,
Right.
when was that? Like 05?
15.
That was that huge. No, the huge one I'm thinking of was. I don't think it was in Japan.
Yeah, this was in Japan, and it because the reactor, in order to operate safely, and by operation I mean even just not working at all, just in standby, not producing any power, the reactor requires power because it has to circulate coolant around the reaction rods and to keep them cool. If that fails, if it doesn't receive power, then the rods start to melt down, and the windup is that that is what happened there.
We live right next to the ocean.
Yeah,
Like we're from South Jersey, in case you guys didn't know. But so we live right next to the Atlantic Ocean. Like we're right here.
yeah.
Has there ever, or could there ever be a tsunami here, like an earthquake in the ocean? Or
In theory,
we don't hear about that here.
Yeah, in theory it could happen.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Fucking glad that we don't. But okay,
Well,
so
yeah,
why
it's-
only in theory? Like, why does it happen more out there? I don't get
I
it. There's
don't
more
know.
fault lines.
Oh yeah,
under the
the
ocean
fault
there?
lines. Yes.
Under the ocean there.
Yeah, it's
Wait,
fault
what
lines.
ocean is that? Japan, near Japan.
Well, that's Pacific.
Oh, so they're on the west.
Yes. So yeah, I guess there's no fault lines around here. I don't pay full attention to where the fault lines
Are
at.
all the other oceans in the world, right,
Uh-huh.
as big as Atlantic and Pacific? Well, the Pacific Ocean's bigger than the Atlantic, right?
Yeah, I believe so, yes.
Uh-huh. Okay, so are they like the two biggest in the entire world? Because there's like the Indian Ocean and there's other oceans. I know
Yeah.
that.
I'd be willing to bet, and this is only a semi-educated guess, that the Pacific Ocean is the largest out of all of them.
Okay. We'll have to look that up together.
Yeah.
I like asking you instead of just Googling it because I get more information and, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you're not sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes I correct you.
Yeah.
Not often, but I have.
Yeah.
All right, so another like geography question, 'cause that's what I really suck at, apparently, is Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and you know when the doc says they found me, I don't know how, but they found me, and then Marty says, Who do you think?
The
Libyans. Run for it, Marty. Right, yes. Okay, that was fun. So, what is the difference between Libyans and Lebanon? So there's Libya,
Yes.
and then there's Lebanon.
Yes.
Two totally different places, close to each other.
Close to each other, not bordering each other, but close to each other.
When I hear Lebanon, I think of Lebanon bologna.
Yeah, that's completely separate.
Which, when I was
Lebanon
little-
bologna doesn't have anything to do with Lebanon.
When I was little, I used to eat that. Ugh. And I called it lemon and bologna. That's what I thought it was called. But go ahead.
Lebanon bologna is actually named for Lebanon, Pennsylvania, where it originates from. And I believe it's got pork in it, so people in Lebanon itself who are Muslim would want nothing to do with it.
Well, that's weird that it's named. Oh, okay, because it's Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh.
Well,
I
Libya,
wouldn't want anything to do with it now. There's no pork for me, no red meat, But when I was little, I used to eat it.
Libya is in northern Africa, right next to Egypt. And Lebanon is somewhere above that in the Middle East, which is technically Asia.
Do they like each other?
Yeah. They
get
don't
along
really
and all?
have. any major problems, I guess, although that whole area has problems. But I guess in between Libya and Lebanon, I don't think there are many problems. Lebanon had a civil war
When?
15, 20 years ago, somewhere in there it ended, and it lasted for years before that.
Okay, so their civil war was against who?
What's that?
Who was their civil war against?
Well, it's a civil war. That's a war in the country itself.
Right. So, like, when we had the Civil War, it was us. And then
against us.
It was us against us. Okay, yeah, but it was for the fight of removing slavery, and the South wanted to keep it, the North wanted to abolish it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was their civil war over?
I don't know. I don't know that well enough to even speculate what their civil war was about. What it always is, at least in those type of countries, and typically in South American countries as well, and is that one power wants to take over and the other power doesn't want to let go of power.
Right, but then that would be somebody against. So, like, capitalism against.
No, not necessarily. It's kind of like meet the new boss, same as the old boss type of thing. I don't know enough about the politics of it to say what occurred. I don't know.
As much as I like everything that you know, because I love it, it is good to know that you don't know everything.
It's quite true.
Then I don't feel as inferior, I guess. Okay, so you want to hear a cute story?
Sure.
I saw this on, I don't know, on my phone, on some site. A woman in Michigan got a postcard in the mail. Mm-hmm. It was almost 100 years old.
Crazy.
Yeah, she knew it was, it says a Michigan woman got quite a surprise when she went to her mailbox this week. Amid her regular bills and junk mail was a postcard that had been mailed almost 100 years ago. It has her name, Brittany Keach. She didn't give the card much thought at first because she was busy with her kids and hustle and bustle, all that. And she thought it was very weird that she saw the postcard in with her mail. Mm-hmm. Because nobody sends postcards anymore. Everything's done, like, digitally,
Right.
So she just looked at it and she was just like, okay, this is different. And then later on noticed that the card was postmarked. Like, she didn't even know it was old. And then she picked it up. She noticed that it was postmarked October 29th, 1920. So almost 100 years. And it had her address on it. Sorry. But it was written as someone named Roy McQueen in, like, faded cursive writing. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the postcard, it just said, "Dear cousins, hope this will find you all well. We are quite well, but mother has awful lame knees." It's so weird to, like, hear the writing from 100 years ago, you know? But mother has awful lame knees. It is awful cold here. I just finished my history lesson and I'm going to bed pretty soon. My father is shaving and my mother is telling me your address. I will have to close for a night. I guess wrap it up and go to bed. Hope Grandma and Grandpa are well. Don't forget to write us. Roy get his pants fixed yet? Question, I guess. Anyway, it was signed by a Flossie Burgess. And the postcard, it had a Halloween theme that included a black cat holding a broom, a bat, a goose, an owl, along with a woman and a cane, or using a cane and a jack-o'-lantern and a witch's hat and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so it had a 1 cent George Washington stamp on it.
Did the post office stamp on it better late than never?
They should have, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, how weird is that? Weird, but amazing. I would love to receive something like that. So the nostalgia in that, I love. Okay. I wanted to talk to you about Robin Williams thing, because I was on my phone and I was looking through different things, and I saw Robin Williams' widow, which I never saw her before. She's really pretty, you know. And I listened to the whole thing, and it's just sad. Well, first of all, a lot of people were thinking that I'm one of them. I'm guilty of this also. Maybe you are. I don't know, but everybody thought that he was like into the, you know, drugs and drinking and all that when he drinking. I know he was a really bad alcoholic for a while. He fought that consistently, and obviously depression. But he was sober for 8 years when he died. Did you know that?
I didn't know that specifically, but I figured it.
8 years.
Yeah, I didn't think he was on drugs when he died. No.
Or alcohol.
Yeah, or alcohol.
Yeah. 8 years. 8 years. And everybody thinks it's just because he was depressed, which he was, but there was an absolute medical reason for it.
Yeah,
and a lot of this stuff came out after, but she just puts it down more specifically. So I just wanted to play this clip really quick. So listen to this.
You know, we were living a nightmare.
That nightmare at its worst in the months leading up to his suicide. The 63-year-old was secretly battling depression, anxiety, and paranoia, which drove him to take his own life, hanging himself with a belt.
When did you first notice that something wasn't quite right?
In November of 2013, he had a little gut pain. Next month, it was another symptom. It was like this endless parade of symptoms, and not all of them would raise their head at once. It was like playing whack-a-mole. Which symptom is it this month? I thought, is my husband a hypochondriac? We're chasing it and there's no answers, and by now we tried everything.
Some answers finally came in May that year when Robin was diagnosed with early stages of Parkinson's disease.
Did he ever do anything where you were afraid for his physical safety?
Yes. Yeah, July 24th. I was in the shower, and all of a sudden I saw him lingering at his sink for a while, and something didn't seem right. And I opened up the door, and there was blood. This towel was so soaked with blood, and he was just downing his head. I just screamed, "Robin, what happened? What did you do?" My best friend was sinking, you know? He pointed to the door, and I said, "Did you hit your head?" And he nodded. His only response was, "I miscalculated."
Did it ever cross your mind that he could be suicidal?
No. It was what was going on inside of his brain, the chemical warfare that no one knew about.
His autopsy later revealing he was suffering from a debilitating brain disorder, Lewy body dementia.
Lewy body dementia is a complex disorder with many different presentations. You can see very dramatic effects in thinking, emotions, and behavior.
Most people think your husband killed himself because he was depressed.
No. Lewy body dementia killed Robin. It's what took his life. And that's what I've spent the last year trying to get to the bottom of. What took my husband's life?
Was he losing his mind?
Yes, absolutely. And he was aware of it. He was keeping it together as best as he could, but the last month he could not. It was like the dam broke.
And in that last week, doctors were planning to check him into a facility for neurocognitive testing.
Was this Robin's way of taking control back?
My opinion? Oh, yeah. I think he was just saying no.
So that's sad, somber, you know.
Yeah.
But at least she's getting it out there, so more and more people know that it wasn't, you know, drinking. Okay, so this story you know, but I did want to tell other people because, I don't know, it begins sad, but turns out good. All right, brace yourselves, guys. My ex-husband came into my house the other day. Totally other podcast. And he told me that he had seen a goose that had Canadian Goose, which we have around here. And it had its legs were tied so tightly together that it could not walk. And its one foot was like getting really swollen. I promise the story gets better. So its one foot was really swollen, but it could fly. And so for 4 days, me and Phil had went and looked for him in the rain, right?
Yeah.
And it was actually a little dark out. It wasn't raining hard, and we were looking for where my ex-husband said he had seen him. And the traffic is crazy. You hear that? Anyway, so we couldn't find him. And I named him Buck. Buck the duck, although he is a goose. So anyway, we couldn't find him. And my ex-husband would go around looking for him also. Couldn't find him. So once we realized it's not going to get any better, without removing this, we had called, I called a couple places, the municipality here, like the fire department, just to see what I could do. And then animal control to see what they could do. And eventually my ex-husband came here like the day after I called them, 2 days after I called them, and he was speaking to a neighbor down the street, and she had told him that a couple of vans from, it must have been animal control, he said, pulled up, and they cut it off him, and he is now able to walk, and they did what they needed to do for his swollen leg, and Buck is now free. Buck, you are so welcome. Fly away. So I'm so happy that he's free. And sometimes I listen closely, and you know what I hear?
What's that?
This. Ha, right?
Yep.
He's just thanking us.
Yep.
How cool is that?
Very.
All right, are you ready for current events?
I guess I'm going to have to be.
Yeah. All right, gut check time. Okay, Joe Exotic from the Tiger King.
Okay.
All right, don't worry, because
Yeah, I didn't watch
he
that.
never watched it. I never watched it. I don't want to watch it, and Philip told me not to watch it because Philip had heard, and so have I, that he keeps tigers in these little cages and all that, and I can't handle that again. So we never watched it, but we've heard things about it. Anyway, this isn't about that. This is just about Joe Exotic wrote to Donald Trump asking to be pardoned. Did you know that?
No.
Now, a while ago, I did hear that Don Jr., I don't know if he was kidding or not, but was asking his dad to pardon him. Because I guess Don Jr. watched Joe Exotic and didn't think he was guilty and kept asking Trump to pardon him. So,
Well,
but,
what charges is he being brought up on?
you know what? When I listened to it today, I was, I think that he put out a hit. You guys tell me if I'm wrong, but I think this is what they said. He had put out a hit to have an animal rights activist killed.
Wow.
So if he really did do that, because I don't know the story, I wasn't fucking there. Even if I saw the thing, I wasn't there. But if that's what he did, fuck him. Stay there.
Yeah. And the president doesn't have any power to pardon state prisoners or state anything. So if he was brought up on charges at the state level, whatever state he's in, that would have no effect whatsoever.
I didn't know that, really.
Yes.
So he can only pardon people.
Federal prisoners, yes. Or people being brought up on federal charges or federal prisoners.
So the state governor would have to pardon him, right?
Yes, if it's a state charge, but I'm assuming...
Well, it would be. I mean, she wasn't a federal animal activist unless they do work for the government.
FBI could
EPA
bring
or
up
something.
charges. The FBI could bring charges for that sort of thing, I guess. And
That must be
especially
the
if
only
it's-
time that you wish that your charges go federally, huh?
Yeah. Especially if it crosses state lines, then it falls in the feds court.
What do you mean? That he has to stand on the line of two states
No,
on the border and then say,
no,
go kill this girl?
no. If he's in, I don't know, say Nevada. I have no idea where he's at, but let's say he's in Nevada.
Okay.
And the person he's trying to kill is in Minnesota.
Oh.
And he hires somebody in Minnesota. He calls somebody up in Minnesota and says, "Hey, kill this person."
So he's involving people from different states.
Yes.
Then
And when
that-
things cross state lines,
That's
when
federal?
that federal can be. It doesn't have to be because the FBI gets to choose what cases they want to prosecute. So it doesn't have to be.
But do they have to then contact the FBI to see if the FBI would want to investigate that case or no?
Yeah, somebody would, or the FBI would have to learn about it and decide whether they wanted to take it on themselves. Yeah.
All right, I'm bored of that story. I'm bored of it now.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on. It's just a bunch of ridiculous crap. Okay, so an Amazon expert on tribes, right?
Well, I have no idea what that means.
It means he's
I thought you meant I thought you meant Amazon.com. No, you mean the Amazonian
you know
jungle.
what? Oh my god, I'm so glad you said that because I thought it meant Amazon.com too.
You
I was
mean-
like, okay, now they have experts who work on tribes. They have every fucking thing else. Goddamn, probably can order one of them guys who investigate tribes. You know what I mean? They have everything else. So you're not, believe me, thank you for stating that you did not, that you took it the wrong way out loud. Because I actually thought all this time that that's what it meant. But okay, so Amazon, the rainforest, like
Yes.
the place.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So now that we can agree on the correct Amazon. So a top Brazilian expert on isolated Amazon tribes has been killed by an arrow that struck him in the chest as he approached an indigenous site. His name was, it's hard to, it looks like, here comes another firework. It's okay, buddy. Apparently, people, here comes another one. Apparently, the people who live around here still think it's fucking Labor Day because the shit's been going on for days and my poor dog is scared to death. Well, we're still having a better day than this Brazilian guy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, he was hit in the chest as he approached an indigenous site. His name, blah, blah, is Riley, I guess. It's Rieli. Franciscato. He was 56. He died on Wednesday in a remote region of, I guess it's Rondônia. Does that sound right?
Not a clue.
Okay. And Rondônia State in northwestern Brazil. But that's crazy. Like, he was an expert and he got on the site and they just shot him in the chest with an arrow. They were
Sounds
like,
fair to me.
Get off my land.
Yeah.
You're gonna hurt us. You look like an alien. They don't know.
Yeah.
That's wow. So that's why we won't be vacationing in the Amazon indigenous region. Okay? No matter how much you ask.
Okay.
Deal?
Deal.
Sweet. All right. So in the news also there was a lot of political stuff that happened. You know what? I am so that's how I'm going to do it from now on. I am so sick of all this. I can't keep up. Our president's a lunatic. I can't keep up. And so, yeah, political stuff. That also happened. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So you were in Wildwood with your son
Yeah.
last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah. So last Saturday. So and again, I ran into like a clip that was talking about the difference in Wildwood. They said the new normal for Maury's Pier. Now, I know you guys went on rides.
We did not actually, believe it or not.
I know you played games, and I asked you before you guys left, did you go on, are you going to go on rides? And you're like, yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but I asked him what he wanted to do, and all he wanted to do was play in the arcade. We played in a bunch of arcades and ate a bunch of food. We would have been much easier going to Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, right. Take your 11-year-old to Chuck E. Cheese and wear a cup because you're going to get a swift kick right in the nuts. He don't want Chuck E. Cheese, but I'm really surprised he didn't want to go on any rides, really.
No,
because I knew they were open from the clip I saw.
Several times. He had no interest whatsoever.
Huh. Just the arcade, huh?
Yep, the arcade and food.
Did you play pinball with him?
Yep.
Kicked your ass, didn't he?
Yeah, actually, they don't really have a lot of pinball.
Because I know you went bowling the weekend before.
Yes.
And you played him in bowling, and obviously you kicked his ass.
Yes.
Okay. And then you went to the arcade in the bowling alley and played pinball.
Yes.
And then he kicked your ass.
Yes. There's not a lot of pinball in Wildwood. I love pinball, but yes, he does beat me in pinball.
Sure plays a mean pinball.
That's right.
He sings that. Because it sure as hell ain't me. Yeah, I'm not quitting my day job. Go ahead.
We also played a bunch of air hockey, and
I love air hockey.
we kind of tied the first time around, and then he beat my butt from there on.
In air hockey?
In air hockey.
Wow.
I have no coordination whatsoever.
No, that I know. I mean, you can, not like none whatsoever. But in air hockey?
In air hockey.
Nice. Get it.
I have to admit it. My 11-year-old beat my butt in air hockey.
And pinball.
Yeah.
Don't forget.
Yep.
Okay. And soon he will be big enough to just beat your ass, period.
Yeah.
So if I were you, I'd keep in check.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So I was thinking the other day about a while ago when you told me that and I never thought of it like this, but you were right. And I might have even said something like this on another one of our podcasts, but beep beep. How you said I'm attracted to danger.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess I didn't take it offensively, but I thought you were wrong. But I think you're right.
Yeah.
Because I watch, like, I'm a girl.
Yeah.
And I'm a girl. And I think I'm a girl. And I watch, like, all them true crime stories. And I watch them and I get into them. And I watch, like, God, when IDTV was, like, a big thing, you know that. I would watch that all the time. But that was nothing compared to the stuff that I watch now. Like, true crime shit, you know? And, like, I must have heard the Chris Watts interviews, and there's 2 of them, and they're, like, a couple hours each. I must have heard them 3 or 4 times. I laugh at scary movies. I don't think they're scary at all. There's, like, 2 or 3 scary movies that actually do get me, and mostly because they're about like real people that are absolutely out of their heads, you know. But yet I can watch the other stuff about real people. So what girls do that? Am I weird?
No.
Honestly, because Joe Rogan said something.
That's stereotypical, really.
No, not really, because Joe Rogan said the other day on one of his podcasts, and it was probably the old studio still. He said something about, I never understood why girls watch, like, true crime stuff and all that. He's like, girls, don't do that. Like, I don't get why some girls watch that stuff. So, Joe Rogan thinks I'm weird.
Yeah, and?
And you don't think I am?
No, it's stereotypical. It's vanilla and plain. Sorry, but it's stereotypical.
I don't care if I'm vanilla and plain when it comes to that.
That's fine.
I just don't want to be a freak.
You're not.
Do any other girls out there watch this stuff like constantly? Like, I'm obsessed with this shit. And then there's a thing on YouTube, red circle interrogations. And you can, like, watch these people get interrogated. Now, that's kind of, like, cool. I think that some other people would watch, you know? Because that's, like, more of the psyche. And that's probably why I watch it. It, like, gets into people's heads. And I like to understand what people are fucking thinking. So, from death to a comedy clip. It's Jim Gaffigan. I'm sure a lot of you know him. Some don't. Whatever. But it's on, the clip is on drinking in a bar, which I'm sure we all miss. Now there's a bar across the street from us, who I'm sure you guys can hear with everything fucking going on. Motorcycles, people, fucking fireworks, and all that shit is open now. I think they have to close at 9, thankfully. But I think it's past 9, right?
Yeah, it's almost 11.
Okay, well, then they don't listen. Okay. But anyway, yeah, so this is Jim Gaffigan on drinking in a bar.
See, some of you are drinking. That's not the answer. It's not. Eating is. It's amazing how our attitude on alcohol changes, right? Because even as a teenager, you know it's wrong. You're like, I don't like the taste of it, but I want to look cool. And then in your 20s, you're like, you know what? This kind of gives me confidence to talk to the opposite sex. And then in your 40s, you're like, you know what? This is the only thing I like about being alive. It's only funny because it's true. I'm sure some of you are going to go to some bars, head to a bar, right? Yeah. I never really feel comfortable right when I get in a bar. I'm always kind of like, who are all these strangers? But after a couple of beers, I'm like, these guys are probably my best friends. Because your experience in a bar changes over the course of the night, right? As the night goes on, you see really why we go to bars. We go to bars so we can behave like children. Toddlers, really. You ever go to a bar at 2 a.m.? You might as well be picking up a kid at nursery school. It's the same experience. The behavior's the same in both places. Both places, there's always some strange yelling for no reason at all, Woo! Both places you go in the bathroom, it's obvious not everyone's potty trained. Both places there's always someone crying, she was my best friend, but not anymore. Both places occasionally there's a fight, he was standing where I wanted to stand. So I punched him in the head. I need more juice. But at 2 a.m., people are drunk in bars. I love how we're always surprised when someone's drunk in a bar. We're actually shocked. We're like, look at that guy. He's wasted in a bar. I came here to read a novel. Mostly the people that are drunk in bars are drunk because they're drinking shots. And really the only time to ever drink a shot is never. No one's ever drank a shot and then done something they're proud of. I got wasted last night, and then I went out and built some low-income housing.
Okay, guys. We're actually going to wrap it up, and I am going to go hug, cuddle, and pet my dog, who is terrified now. If you need to or want to call us, text us, contact us, yell at us, tell us to go fuck ourselves, whatever. The number is 856-882-9670.
Or y.bother.pod@gmail.com.
And the Y is a letter.
Yeah, I think we've got
Y
the
is a
message
letter,
out.
not the word. Okay. Yeah, so I am going to go hug my dog. And anybody who has a dog, go home and hug your dog. Okay. We love you guys. We will talk to you on Wednesday night. And that's a wrap.
Good night, everybody.